Welcome, everyone, to an amazing race on hand. There's not a lot of places more patriotic for a race than Charlotte Motor Speedway, the home of the Coca-Cola 600 and many patriotic festivities. Adds HTL once again to its calendar for July 4th weekend coming up, the last day in June. We kick it off with an extended 125-mile race coming up here for the Charlotte 300 and the HTL Challenger Series. Welcome, everyone, to HTL on ABN. Tuesdays are made for racing. Before we get too awful in depth here, a huge shout out to our Patreon Premier Tier subs. If you want your name added to this list of drivers that we read out every week, the QR code at the bottom of your screen, as well as if you're on YouTube, the description below can help you get started with everything you need to know. For those that are already a part of the conversation, welcome to the show. Trade-ups Logan, Dogman 2935, Eli Sasek, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head, B-Dogs, Colin McDonough, Blue, KJ Gibney, J-Paw, Jake Potak, and our newest Premier Tier sub in June. How fitting, the last day of June, a subscriber finally in the Premier Tier. Love you all so much. If you're in the Plus tier for Patreon, your name's still at the bottom of your screen in that ticker that rolls throughout all of our broadcasts. So we appreciate all of you as well. But the Premier Tier giving us an extra little support. We love you all so much. Thank you for everything you do for us here on ABM. That being said, there is a race on hand. There is a race to be in the top 12 for the Challenger Series chase. Josh Susi, he seems pretty untouchable right now. 90 points the gap to Christina Ryan. Those two have bolstered themselves as two of the top drivers in the series with their consistency. Eli Sasek in the top 3, though, cannot be overlooked. Blue Jade, Blake Henderson, your top 5 in points. Brady Smith in 6th. June Jimenez sitting in the 7th position, having missed the opening rounds of the season. Hasn't taken a lot. 2 race wins will get you pretty far into this conversation, and that's where Jimenez is right now. Davis Mule Jr., Byron Jones, Alfred Denny, your top 10 at the end of the day last week in Kansas. Josh Osborne, Josh Gaiman. If the chase started today, thankfully it doesn't, they're top 12. Reason why it's the same thing, it's not that way is because there's a tight fight that we get to see play out for a couple more weeks. Today in Kansas, next week in Talladega, and then the week after that, it's all still race time. And we're excited to see everything play out here. The last race of the regular season before the chase begins is Darlington, July 14th. So we are full steam ahead. 3 races to try to get into the top 12. If you're Dustin Hall, Casey Ellis, John Matthews, Ryan Moutre, you're outside the cut line, but not by much. A lot can change in the HTL Challenger Series, especially the 3 races here. Charlotte, Talladega, Darlington, that's a gauntlet to try to overcome, and a lot can change, as we have seen so far this season. Wesley Worley, one of the rookies of this season, sort of just cutting his teeth in this Challenger Series campaign. He is slowly improving time after time. Bobby Blowers, who has been super sub for several different drivers so far this season, since 19th in points. DJ Anderson, Mark Parkhurst, Bailey Thompson, Marcus Chafin, and Tristan Bayer right at your top 24 of 30 points scores here tonight. Qualifying is underway, and we are glad you are with us. This is Mark Parkhurst coming out onto the racetrack. Zach Apperson will have to update. He is in truck at number 4 tonight. See if we can get that taken care of before we get into race time. We got 5 minutes of warm-up between qualifying and the race, so that shouldn't be a problem. Parkhurst getting ready to set a lap time here. Let's see what he gets. Had to really back out of it there. Not what he wanted to do, I think, in the slightest there. And it's not going to count as a lap time either. Bren Roberts, truck number 96. Sitting on the racetrack here. There's two 96s at the moment because my goofiness, I accidentally registered into the session as a driver. We'll ignore that. It'll go away. It'll go away for race time, and that's what matters. Bren Roberts is in the 96 as the rightful driver for Arrowhead Racing in its lone Truck Series entry. Second week in a row for the 96 camp. And that's Sheets Toyota. I don't think this is a lap time that'll count. Del Markowski coming up next on the list in that Budweiser 33. Eli Sasek looking on pace right now for provisional pole. Markowski on a flying lap now. Difficult racetrack with 110% horsepower, 725. I added a 10 horsepower there. 715 is the horsepower number. I just rounded up because it'd be nice. But no, Del Markowski, 715 horsepower at his feet, 31.517 for the 33 truck. Only enough for 16th right now. That'll see him qualify and end his placement there. And Bren Roberts, we said that his time didn't count. It 100% did count. He went top of the chart. A 30.864. So our timing screen lied to us. He is 100%. He is fine and dandy. No one else on the racetrack. Parkhurst did tag the wall. His lap was not validated. We'll see if Josh Soucy, June Jimenez, or Kevin Gibney Jr. set a lap time here with less than 3 minutes to go. They are leaving it late at the moment. I'm not going to complain too awful hard right now, because it gives us a chance to catch up on getting Apperson put into the system here. We do have someone rolling. I think it's Gibney. It is Gibney and Soucy. We'll look at the points leader first. Soucy rolling out onto the racetrack before Gibney, so that works out. Jimenez also on the racetrack on pit lane. So I think giving that extra little berth with a little over a minute and a half. Back straight away. 2 points leader goes. Let's see what he's got. Cross start finish line is Josh Soucy. Was that enough for provisional pole? 100% it was. A 30.849, 200ths of a second. Josh Soucy does what he does best. Here comes Jimenez. Rip riding along the outside of the racetrack, looking for pole herself. Hot off the heels of a second career win in HTL. They have left it late, and they've left it for a reason. Jimenez to the line. Is this a front row start for Jimenez? 30.880. It improves, but not enough for a front row start. It is going to be Jimenez's best qualifying effort so far this season. And Gibney with a 30.997 will go 7th fastest as qualifying comes to a close. A chance to reset and get everything ready to go. 22 trucks set to go racing. So everyone goes through and begins dialing things in here. Getting things dialed in and ready to go. So we work on things on our end to make sure things are ready to go for tonight. We will let you enjoy the sights and sounds, and we'll be back in a couple minutes. A look at the weather here at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we come closer to ending warm-up here in Charlotte Motor Speedway. 88 degrees the air temp. Not far away from how it feels in real life. Avian Studios right now, it is 92 degrees. At 8 p.m. is a bit outrageous, but that's where we're at right now. Track tip 118 degrees. It's not fun for the tires. It is fun for the drivers. The flipping and sliding around will be fun to watch tonight as things play out. Also, the wind speed, 8 miles an hour, 8 to 12 miles an hour, will play havoc with these extended-bodied trucks tonight. That being said, it is time for us to jump in to what should be a spectacular race. Hit the music. The starting grid for the HTL Charlotte 300, Josh Susie and Brent Roberts at the front of the field. Ram and Toyota front and center tonight on that front row. Brent Roberts, the points leader in the Cup Series on Monday nights. Josh Susie, the former two-time champion in the Cup Series, leading the points by 90 entering tonight here in the Challenger Series. June Jimenez and Eli Sasek sit in row number 2. Jimenez's best start, has won both races so far in her career outside the top 10 on the starting grid. Something to kind of keep in mind there. Row 3, last night's race winner, breaking a winless streak dating 1,197 days. Dustin Hall will try to go back-to-back here to end up the month of June. Alongside Spencer Teal in the number 18 tonight in that Moon Pie number 18 machine. Kevin Gibney Jr., Christina Ryan, they'll start in row 4 alongside each other, along with Josh Gaiman and Blake Henderson, who round out your top 10, row 5 here in this field. Davis Mule Jr., Zach Apperson in row 6. This is Apperson's first race this season in that signature Red Bull number 4 as he starts in 12th. Blue Jade, Dakota Osborne in row number 7. Row 8 is where you'll find Brady Smith and Byron Jones. Jones trying to do what he did last night and try to climb through the field to get to the top 10. He's pretty proficient at these mile and a halves. We'll see if he can do it. Stephen Overstat, a late addition in that number 3 alongside Alfred Denny. He sits comfy in the top 12, but not invulnerable. Del Markowski and Tristan Bayer make up the top 20 in row 10. Wesley Worley alongside Mark Parkhurst, they make up row 11. And had I been on the racetrack, I would have been in row 12 tonight. Not the case, but we can dream. Running that little CarQuest machine here in Charlotte. A reminder of the points as things enter here tonight in Charlotte Motor Speedway. Josh Susie leads by 90 over Christina Ryan. Safety almost guaranteed, not quite though with 3 races to go. If he holds position tonight, he would be the first driver locked in to the chase for the Challenger Series championship. Christina Ryan not far away. Eli Sasek, Blue Jade, Blake Henderson, your top 5. Brady Smith, June Jimenez, Davis Miller Jr., Byron Jones, Alfred Denny, Dakota Osborne, Josh Gaiman with 3 races to go are in those coveted chase positions, the top 12. Just outside looking in, Dustin Hall. He's had consistency. He just needs to be able to find a little bit more to get into that top 12 conversation. Same goes for Casey Ellis, John Matthews, and Ryan Moutre. All fingertips away from that top 12, especially with these last 3 races. Charlotte, Talladega, and Darlington. It'll be a lot of fun to see how these races play out. Longer race tonight. Instead of it being 250 kilometers, it is 300, 125 laps. Will be enough to change how these drivers approach this race. It's no longer fuel mileage. You know you've got 2 stops to make. Now it's time for these drivers to race all out and see what they can get. Tire management will still be important with the temperature on the racetrack. Right now, the starting temp for this race, 113. It'll go up to about 120 as this race progresses. Hot racetrack, hot temp, hot night here in Charlotte. The HTL Challenger Series, the last race in June. The green flag flies, and Josh Susie brings us to green. Already trouble, Spencer Teal out of the way. Dropping spots already. Trouble. Truck spinning early. A lot of contact. And our points leader has problems early. And this starts very similar to how Kansas was a week ago. Brent Roberts takes over the lead of the race. Being on the outside lane, Spencer Teal, who checked up a decent chunk of the field with a slow start, ends up second in this whole charade. And Blake Henderson up to third. But that realistically, that started at the start of this race. And we'll see what happened. Handy dandy blip camera. See if we can go chopper cam. There we go. Everyone trying to navigate the 18 of Spencer Teal. And there's trouble ahead. And I'm not sure if Sasek gets loose or if it's just everyone checking up behind Susie. It's Susie, Jimenez, Hall, inside lane on the bottom of the racetrack. Roberts and Sasek up top. ABN slow motion, quarter speed. Looks like Dustin just grabs below the white line. But it seems like Susie gets loose on his own. It seems like Dustin might try to check up here. Contact between Jimenez and Sasek. And that gets Sasek turned around. Contact between the Gibney Racing Division teammates. That's Smeal and Gaiman. Christina Ryan in trouble early. Not a lot she can do there. Contact between the two favorites, that the two main contenders, the 81 and the 11, involved in this trouble early. They've been so good at avoiding trouble so far this season. Christina Ryan also been really good at avoiding trouble. Not the case here. Gets turned around and just rolls backwards. Sasek up in the fence. We'll see contact between Smeal and Gaiman. Several cars turned around here as everyone has to sort of go to avoid. And Gibney, who started from pit lane voluntarily, will gain spots without doing much of anything in that process. Dustin Hall gets through that pretty well okay. So he will reclaim his spot in second. Half spin didn't keep him from being in second place there. And so it'll be Hall behind Roberts, Henderson behind Teal, or alongside Teal in this case as we double up and get ready for one to green. Lights out on the pace truck. Only truck on pit lane is the driver that really didn't need further issues. You see the damage on the driver's right side. I would assume suspension damage with the contact between Jimenez and Ryan. Have set the 81 car backwards a little bit. 90-point buffer is looking to take quite a hit. Going a lap down for the first time, it feels like all season for Josh Susie. 21 trucks rolling on the lead lap, all the way down to Davis Mills Jr. Jimenez down in 20th. And so a good starting spot has been squandered for multiple drivers here, and the field practically flips outside your top four. Everyone in the top 10 has gained at least 6 spots, minus Roberts, Hall, and Teal, which have all made positive gains. Roberts up 1, Hall up 3, Teal up 3. For our first restart of the night. Susie still on pit lane. 90-point gap. He'll still be points leader regardless of what happens tonight. The question is, who makes those strides to get closer? That is the fun question we get to have answered here. Pace truck is in. To the restart zone we go. And Brent Roberts gets us back underway here in Charlotte. Lap 5 now underway. Susie just now leaving pit lane, 2 laps down. He's going to need to hope for something we have not seen in this Challenger Series in well over a month, almost 2 months, and that's another a second caution. The last several races have had one caution, and that's been it. And they've all been early, just like tonight. The trend so far continuing, and if that's how it's going to be, Josh Susie's in for a long, long night. Battle for the front of the field, Dustin Hall. Shades of last night, shades of Las Vegas. Dustin Hall and the Team Conti Sim Performance Machine up to the front in that Chevrolet. Around Roberts. Roberts drops to third. Henderson in close proximity in second. Dustin Hall outside the chase conversation. Blake Henderson top 5 in the chase conversation right now as they duke it out at the front of the field. Teal around Roberts as well. Roberts trying to save some tire. He's thinking long game already. Not sure if that is a holdout from the way it was last week when it was fuel mileage all the way through. Shouldn't be fuel mileage at all tonight. Guaranteed 2-stop event with the 125 laps. An increase from 104 we saw a week ago. Henderson goes to the point. Was upset by losing out at Kansas. Had pace initially. Went the wrong way with car setup changes as that night went along last night. Said it was on his own shoulders. He just flipped the way the setup was supposed to be adjusted, and the car just got worse instead of better, and he couldn't adjust to it. No such issues so far tonight as he rolls around the bottom of the racetrack here. Out in front, Dustin Hall in second, Spencer Teal, Brady Smith, Blue Jade, your top 5. As everyone tries to find a rhythm again. After the short caution and everyone in new positions. Byron Jones finished 7th a night ago in Kansas in the Cup Series. As we were saying before, Spectrum decided to play along with tonight's festivities. Byron Jones sitting right now in the 8th position. The 7th last night, right now working against Bren Roberts in the attempt to move forward, and does so. Now up to 7th, level with his performance from last night, trying to close in on Steven Oberstadt and Blue Jade as they battle for the top 5 conversation. Most spots gained so far, Brady Smith up 12 just in this conversation at the front in 3rd. Everyone duking it out. The more that they fight, the better it is for Hall and Henderson out in front. Now by a 2.5 seconds. Battles further back as well as Christina Ryan works the outside lane. Home racetrack for the Charlotte native. Gets around Dakota Osborne. A little bit of contact there. That's further back. Between, I believe, that was Jimenez and Parkhurst. So a little bit more conversation, a little bit more elbows out there as the 11 tried to move on through. Parkhurst not happy about it. Not sure if Jimenez meant anything by it. But Jimenez now under pressure and under attack from the Gibney Racing Division cars at the 61 at Gaiman. And the 10 is Smeal. Brady Smith trying to break away with that 3rd spot in hand, trying to close back in on the leaders. Dustin Hall back out in front. Henderson in 2nd. Tire we're beginning to kick in just a little bit. When we talk about weather, our favorite topic, 121 degrees already. We've been on the racetrack running for 14 laps, and the track temperature's already gone up 8 degrees. It'll only get hotter. You see, it just went up there. Now up 9 degrees from the start of this race, where it was 113. Hot racetrack. It is cooking these tires, and that is what everyone is thinking about right now. You do not want to overuse those tires. Henderson trying to keep up with Dustin Hall. Did not have a lot of track time in practice. Ran less than 15 laps in practice. Obviously feeling comfortable, has pace, has always had pace here at Charlotte. But you got to be able to manage your tire wear. You got to be able to manage your tools. And those tools are what you've got in the race truck. He's hanging in there with Dustin Hall at the moment, but Brady Smith, Spencer Teal trying to close in on the leaders here and bring them back in. They tried to open a gap early. And the strategy is that if you open a gap early, you're trying to force those around you to spend up their stuff to catch you. The issue is that there is a debt that needs to be paid. We talk about the grip debt, the tire tax. The more you use those tires, especially in these trucks right now, the harder it is to maintain that gap to begin with. And so instead of them catching you, you end up falling back to them. And you're seeing that right now. Brady Smith firmly in the draft of Blake Henderson as they complete lap number 18. Or sorry, start lap number 18. Brady Smith in that conversation right now. Byron Jones also beginning to move forward here, getting around Steven Oberstadt in that number 24 truck. And keep an eye on the Ulti Energy Machine up into the top 5. Having a good night so far. A couple further back, it looks like Christina Ryan, Alfred Denny, Dale Markowski, Eli Sasek battling just for that top 10 position. Markowski battling to hold on to stay 10th. Denny, Sasek, and Ryan all trying to take it away. Brendan Robertson 8th. Zach Apperson, his first Truck Series race so far this season, sitting right now in 9th. Not doing too bad in the number 4 machine. Right now on an island, Wesley Worley on the lead lap. Last truck on the lead lap. Getting better and better every week is the 13 truck. Trying to stay with the group right now. June Jimenez, one of the juggernauts that has had issues in this race. A rare case of both Susie and Jimenez having issues here in the Challenger Series. Jimenez stuck right now in the 20th position. And everyone trying to work around Tristan Bayer as Gibney, Gaiman, Smeal, and Osborne are all in this conversation. Brady Smith around Henderson, outside lane through turns 3 and 4. Henderson's been caught by the main group. Hall out ahead by a second and a half. But Brady Smith is now through. The hounds are being released one by one. They're being unleashed. Spencer Teal trying to make his way forward, looking at a podium potentially. Early days. But the conversation is wide open as they all jockey for position in just a scrap of clean air. Henderson up top along with Byron Jones. Teal on the inside lane along with Steven Oberstadt. Blue Jade, Bren Roberts, and Zach Apperson. Dealer's choice on what lane they want to go to. Roberts picks bottom. Blue Jade picks top. Apperson indecisive, but doesn't have to choose right now. He'll pick whatever's available. Spencer Teal goes up towards the fence, trying to find a way through. Not quite. A little bit of a bobble. And through they go. Oberstadt around Henderson as well for third. Oberstadt, a race winner in Darlington in the Cup Series last season. He knows how to win here in HTL. Can he win here in Charlotte? Henderson up in the fence a little bit. Dabbles up to the fence again. Allows a lot more of the field to get around that time. Henderson drops down to 9th, and I'm willing to say that he has overused those Goodyear Eagles. I almost said Goodstone, mixing up NASCAR and IndyCar. It's been a long day. Whoa, car in the fence big time. That was Teal. And they were all trying to avoid Blue Jade, who was running through the AstroTurf. and will drop out of the top 10 altogether. Christina Ryan picking off spots, now up to 7th. Now working against Unforgiven Motorsports teammate Zach Apperson. Henderson recovers to 9th place, I should say. Ryan and Henderson were inseparable last week in Kansas. The Ryans typically had the better on that occasion. And so far that is the case. And I say that even though Henderson's 5th in points and Christina Ryan is 2nd in points, they've all had pretty good runs this season. Spencer Thiel in 8th. A little bit of a bobble there for Alfred Denny. He got a little bit loose, battling Eli Sasek, who'll lose that spot in that Danhausen number 21. He's feeling a little bit cursed right now, falling out of the top 12 and struggling to get back into it. As Markowski stays 10th and tries to keep Eli Sasek at bay. Trouble further back. Trucks in the grass. Tristan Bayer and David Smeal Jr. have a wild ride through the AstroTurf. Again, it's AstroTurf. A lot more forgiving surface than regular grass that we see like at Kansas or at Las Vegas. I would love to see what happened here. I think we got to look at it. This is out coming through back straightaway. We'll go full speed on this replay. And keeping an eye on Davis Moon Jr. This is a little loose there for both Bayer and Smeal. And they both just hop through the AstroTurf and keep it rolling. At the front of the field, it is Dustin Hall by 2.2 seconds. We said it last night in the broadcast for those that missed it. It's once you win one, it's easier to win a lot more. Dustin Hall had not won. We talked to him in Victory Lane last night. He said this is a different era of HTL. Being able to finally win in it means a lot. Being able to grab 2 wins back-to-back to sweep the rest of the week going into Independence Day would be a pretty big feather in the cap, but you got to keep your eye on Bren Roberts. He is now up to 2nd place. And if anyone's going to thwart that effort, it could be the 96 tonight. Qualified on the front row. He's back where he started. Oberstadt in 3rd. Byron Jones in 4th. Brady Smith, top 5. And Brady Smith got a little loose there. Went through the AstroTurf. And will lose a little bit of time. Stays in the draft, but barely. He's got his work cut out for him, though. Christina Ryan up into the 6th position. Had to work from the back of the field. One of those that came down pit lane on lap number 2. And got some damage repaired on that number 80. After the contact with Susie and Jimenez. Has been able to move forward. Jimenez being able to slowly move forward. Sitting now in the 17th position, though. And it's going to be a long race to get everything back into the order. Josh Susie in danger of going a 3rd lap down. You see the damage still on the right front of that 81 machine. Again, he's hoping for attrition at this point. 2 laps down, about to be 3 laps down. We have not, outside of Daytona, we have not had more than 3 cautions in this race, in the HTL Challenger Series. Daytona being the exception, and that race was not the kindest to some. It worked out for Susie pretty well. His teammates, not so much. Susie trying to avoid going a 3rd lap down will not make it easy for Dustin Hall. And you're seeing that gap close from 2.3 to 2.1. But Susie, I think, kind of knows that tonight's just not going to be his night, and he's going to be okay with that, having a 90-point difference in that conversation. Now officially 3 laps down. Mark Parkhurst, his day has come to a close. And so Susie will gain 1 spot and will move up to 21st. With the extended race distance, the stage is not going to be on lap 50. It'll be on lap 65. 30 to go to that marker right now. There will be a pit stop before we get to that point, well and truly. The question is, when do you make that pit stop? Do you pit now and split the stage in half? Some are thinking about it. Or do you go that full distance? I would assume everyone's going to try to stay out as long as possible. You can't really gamble on that. But at the same time, pitting now, it's still a 2-stop race. It's still a 2-stop race. It's open. The conversation is open. I would not be surprised if in the next 5 or 6 laps, a couple of your front runners come down pit lane early to try to get the undercut and leapfrog positions here. Justin Hall in the clear. A little bit of contact almost between Susie and Brent Roberts. They start on the front row, and how different those races have been through the 96 and the 81. Roberts, Jones, Overstat, Smith, Ryan, Apperson, Sasek, Spencer Teal, Alfred Denny, Dale Markowski, and Blake Henderson, your top 12 at the moment after 37 laps completed. Wesley Worley comes down pit lane early. He was not a front runner, but this is a smart conversation for him. Keep him on fresher tires where he's a little bit more comfortable and see where things pan out. I don't hate this conversation. I don't hate this call for Wesley Worley. Roberts ahead of Josh Susie and closing the gap. Less than 2 seconds now is that gap. Tristan Baer and Davis Boone Jr. battling amongst themselves again. The 2 Dodge Rams duking it out after losing out on positions following contact a few laps ago between these two. Now on an island amongst themselves. Battle between Sasek and Apperson. This is for 7th. Again, expecting some pit stops here. Not sure how many. Expecting some to come in early and try the undercut strategy and look at that track position. Christina Ryan has a race car right now that is preferring the longer run. It's not going to be the 80 that comes down pit lane. Up to the top 5 around Brady Smith. It could be the 25 of Henderson. He is struggling right now on those tires. Would not be surprised if he comes down before lap 45. Byron Jones right now up to 3rd. Ahead of Steven Oberstadt. Christina Ryan, top 5. And for Josh Susie, it's a rare feeling of helplessness on Tuesday nights, knowing there's not a whole lot you can do in this conversation right now. All you can do is keep your head in it and hope for the best, whatever the best may be. Byron Jones ahead, watching Oberstadt and Ryan battle it out for 4th. Christina Ryan wants to be on the podium, wants a chance at a second race win this season. Won at Atlanta. Would like a second win to join that of Susie and Jimenez as multiple-time race winners. Henderson, Jade, and Osborne, they are in before lap 45. Called it. Not as early as I thought some would come in. They tried to hold out. Tristan Bayer tried to come down pit lane, missed it. Blue Jay just coming out of pit lane. Same with Jimenez. Came down pit lane lap 40. So some pit stops are taking place here. Henderson with a clean pit stop and a clean getaway from pit lane. So now the conversation begins. Everyone looking at stage points right now and how to get them. Bryn Roberts, 1.6, the gap to Dustin Hall. And Dustin Hall hemorrhaging time now. 10th by 10th. Bryn Roberts is closing in. Dustin Hall, not a tire saving specialist. He'll admit that. He's admitted it on air multiple times. But he's going to feel the sting a little bit as he tries to get closer and closer to that pit window. So again, surprised no one's gone, no one bit the bullet and came down pit lane earlier. I was really expecting lap 35, lap 36 to see someone be bold, and not the case now. Jones, Smith, Sasek, they're all in. Sienna Ryan up to third. Has some clear racetrack. It's Tristan Bayer ahead on fresher tires. Will not be a factor against them here as they run longer. Or I imagine shouldn't be. Except Tristan Bayer still had to come down pit lane after missing it the first time. And so that's insult to injury there. Sasek, Smith, Jones, Markowski, all leaving pit lane now. And now what you don't need is a caution. Remember, stage ends on lap 65. Not far from pit stops taking place for the race leaders, though, I don't think. Dustin Hall trying to stem the bleeding at 1.5 seconds over Bryn Roberts. Christina Ryan trying to close that gap in. Dealing right now with the 3 of Steven Oberstadt as they roll around the racetrack right now. Virginia out pit lane this time. Lap 50 underway. And there's the gap. Davis Miller Jr. on fresher tires, having already come down pit lane. Trying to get both of those laps back. We'll see. It looks like Dustin Hall will be coming down pit lane this time. Indeed he is. Bryn Roberts stays out an extra lap. New race leader is Bryn Roberts. Christina Ryan down pit lane as well. So your top 5 will be Bryn Roberts, Steven Oberstadt, Spencer Teal, Zach Apperson, and Kevin Gibney Jr. And Roberts goes an extra lap here. As will Oberstadt. Very interesting to see how that plays out here. Apperson comes down pit lane this time. Gibney stays out. So now we're at 4 cars left out on the racetrack. Remember, stage ends lap 65. No one can get there if they haven't already pit. If you pit, like most of the field outside the top 4, you're good to the run, at least for stage 1. And this will be a pretty lopsided conversation as we look at the closing laps of stage 1 on lap 65. Oberstadt, Teal, both down pit lane this time. It's Roberts and Gibney that stand front and center in this conversation. And here comes Roberts down pit lane this time. No. Thought about it. Decided not to. Don't know if he was overcooking it in just a bailed out and safe face or what that looked like there. Gibney also stays out. Eli Sasek, when they come down pit lane, will be inheriting the race lead. He came down pit lane on lap 45 and has jumped the field. Somehow, some way, was not the first to come down pit lane, but will grab the race lead here out of nowhere. When Roberts and Gibney come down pit lane, he's unlapped himself, so he's safe from that situation if it pops up. Byron Jones battling with Dustin Hall here. Dustin Hall came down pit lane on lap 50. Fresher tires than the 24. 5 laps the difference. Brady Smith on the same tire set, having also come down pit lane on lap 45. More cars unlapping themselves here. Is this the signal for Bren Roberts to come down pit lane? Indeed it is. Truck 96 comes down pit lane safely at pit speed limit. How about Gibney? Does he come down pit lane? I don't think so. Will not lead the lap, but will now have the race lead. If he can go a little bit longer, he can lead laps here in the Challenger Series. Out in front is truck number 31. Coming to 9 to go. And Gibney comes down pit lane this time. Sasek will inherit the race lead. And Gibney will lead a lap. Sasek will now take over the race lead. Do the tri-oval. Dustin Hall, though, in hot pursuit, wanting that race lead back. He has led so much of this race so far. 38 laps led, trying to grab those stage points. Every point counts right now when you're on that fringe of missing the chase for the Challenger Series championship. Ryan right now dueling it out with June Jimenez. This is for 7th place. Jimenez came down pit lane on lap 40. Ryan on 50. Fresher tires for the 80. And not a whole lot Jimenez could do on that situation, as here comes Markowski. And Markowski also fresher tires, but not by as much. 45 was the lap that Markowski came down pit lane on. A little bit skewed out there through 3 and 4, but he keeps going in the right direction. And will also pull away. Jimenez, again, on the back foot after that lap 1 incident that involved a lot of the race leaders. Sasek recovered the best of the group there, but has lost the race lead to Dustin Hall quite handily. And there was not a whole lot Sasek could do to fight it. So now Sasek has to worry about making sure he does not lose time to Byron Jones, who sits right now in the 3rd position. Boarding on, trying to grab 9 stage points. Should be able to do so with these next 6 laps. $16 trucks on the lead lap right now, as things sit. Trouble for Henderson potentially. He is dropping down the order. Is that a technical failure for the 25? It might be. Henderson's day might be done. And that's going to hurt because he had gotten himself into the top 10 pretty comfortably there. And indeed, I think that is day done for the 25. And he'll join Josh Susie and Mark Parkhurst on the retirement list. A very short retirement list, but a painful one tonight. Hall, Sasek, Jones, your top 3. Smith, Christina Ryan, your top 5. 4 to go in stage 1. Pretty tight battle here. Bryn Roberts trying to sweep around the outside of Blue Jay. Does so. And Bryn Roberts up to 7th. Around right now. Blue Jade losing another spot here, potentially to Markowski. Alfred Denny also in the top 10 right now. And Menez just outside the top 10. Will miss out on stage points, it looks like here. Go to Osborne, battling with Zach Apperson and Spencer Teal. Jones under pressure from Brady Smith for 3rd. Brady Smith wants that 3rd spot. Byron Jones will play havoc trying to keep him out of it. But Brady Smith does sweep on through the 95 up to 3rd. White flag in stage 1. And Dustin Hall has opened the floodgates. 3.45 seconds for Dustin Hall. Electric here in stage 1. Be 45 and 65 laps led for Dustin Hall when he comes around to take the stage win and those 10 extra bonus points. Looking electric so far. In this battle for the last stage point, Markowski holding on to 8th. Alfred Denny grabs 9th. He'll grab 8th at the line. 3 stage points for Denny after starting the last lap with 1. That's a charge for points. Smith and Jones needed to battle it out. And while they battle it out, we needed to go get ice. So for the first time in quite some time, let's crank it up. Enjoy the sights and sounds of Charlotte Motor Speedway for the HTL Challenger Series. Less than 50 to go here in the HTL Challenger Series Charlotte 300. You have to watch this battle for it really ramp up here. Ben Roberts made his way on through this group. Sienna Ryan now sitting in that fourth spot. Steven Oberstadt in fifth. Brady Smith ahead of Byron Jones, who sits right now in seventh. Alfred Denning on an island right now in eighth, ahead of Dale Markowski. Spencer Teal right now sitting top 10. Everyone's got one pit stop to go to get to the end of this race. They can safely do that stop at any time beyond this point. I believe some will try to go to lap 85, lap 90. Others will try to go as far as possible, try to go as close to lap 110 before making those pit stops. Remember, Bryn Roberts, who we're riding on board with right now, came down pit lane on lap 55. So he can go to 110 on the nose, but he's got to close down 5 seconds and change to get there. Arrowhead Racing has won many a cup race in the HTL, whether it was at the hands of Caitlin Height or at the hands of Dalton Hayes. They have never won an HTL Challenger Series race right now. Bryn Roberts trying to break through and do that. Dustin Hall also trying to win an HTL Challenger Series race. Despite being proficient with the truck, Dustin Hall's never raced until this season in the truck series. He's always been more on the spotter stand or the pit box, helping drivers along. Now in the series himself, he's letting his legs stretch out a little bit with a 5.3 second gap. Down pit lane, a little bit hot. And that is a speeding penalty for June Jimenez. A little too hot down pit lane for the 11. And that'll be a speeding penalty. In a race that has gone from bad to worse for both of what were your betting favorites for this race. Hall continues to lead the way. Let's go ahead and let's march through the field for those that have jumped in midway here in this contest. We appreciate everyone that's tuning in. Blake Henderson saying internet went out. We had an issue with Spectrum as well here in Ohio. So I definitely sympathize with you on that regard. And unfortunately, that will end Henderson's day. He was having a good race, but unfortunately, it comes out to nothing. Dustin Alt leads the way for Unforgiven Motorsports right now. That number one machine has led the lion's share of laps in this race. Of the 83 completed, he has led over 60 of them, which is pretty mad, all things considered. He said he was looking forward to this race, though, and there's a good reason why. He's got some pace and he's got momentum. After breaking that winless streak of over 1,190 days, now looking to win back-to-back nights. Pretty cool, if it does happen. Still got 41 laps to go, though. And Bryn Roberts would love to have a say in that. So would this man who's just gotten around Bryn Roberts, Eli Sasek, who was involved in the lap 1 accident that involved Susie, that involved Jimenez, involved Christina Ryan. I think Sasek coming up pit lane this time. He got really aggressive down the back straightaway, and yes, he is coming up pit lane this time. And he will have 40 laps to go on this last set of tires. So Brent Roberts inherits second place for Arrowhead Racing, the Baltimore Maryland native. Trying to close in. I was closing in for a bit. The traffic there with Sasek and Jimenez slowed him up pretty significantly, and this might be an early pit stop for him to try to close the gap in. The undercut definitely worked out a little bit better in his favor. But it's dealer's choice on when you make that second pit stop. Roberts has free advantage. I would assume he wants to hold on the best he can and have the freshest tires at the end. It just hasn't quite worked out the way that he hoped it would. Christina Ryan sitting in third right now, also staying out a little bit longer. Can do so. Came to pit lane on lap 50, can go to 100. And might just do that. It's not failed her so far. She's looking at a potential podium. But there'll be some shuffling that happens here with the second set of pit stops coming up. Byron Jones with some cars coming down pit lane. Tristan Bayer coming down pit lane. June Jimenez back down pit lane a second time. This might be to retire the 11 truck and just call it quits tonight. Not going to gain anything in 19th place. No, Jimenez just drove through pit lane. Not sure what happened there. But down pit lane and through went Jimenez. Dustin Hall leads the way. As we mentioned, Byron Jones in fourth. Alfred Denny now up the top five. With pit stops still underway and many still needing to make them. Gray Smith, as you saw just behind, 11th place for him right now. Trying to begin to get his lap back. He was one of the first that came down pit lane on this cycle. Came down pit lane lap 85. Alfred Denny not going to fight him. Not his fight to begin with. Spencer Teal, 6th place. The Athens, Georgia native. Rolling around the racetrack at the moment. Sitting in the top 10. Started this race well. Started this race in 6th. I'm just trying to hold on to it. Byron Jones down pit lane. Denny down pit lane as well. It'll put Kevin Gibney Jr. up into the top 5 for a moment. The Massachusetts native has had a quiet race after the shenanigans his team was through on lap 1. So he's keeping his head down, looking to grab a result here in Charlotte. And he's in that conversation still as Jimenez tries to find a way around. Not on the same lap there. Hall, Ryan down pit lane. Roberts now leads. Eli Sasek out of pit lane now, having pit on lap 85, is in 6th. Josh Gaiman in 7th. Not for Valfreya Motorsports for Gibney Racing Division. We'll have to update that for next race. Pit stops underway there. Brady Smith now back up to 8th. Dakota Osborne in 9th. And Byron Jones now back in 10th, but some changes still coming. And it is finally day done for Jimenez. 18th place for the 11 truck tonight. First DNF this season for Jimenez. And that'll help shake up the points just a little bit. Spencer Teal down pit lane. Brent Roberts leads the way, not expecting to come down pit lane until lap 110. Dustin Hall came down pit lane on lap 90. Sasek on lap 85. Roberts and Gibney, they both stayed out the longest on that first pit stop sequence, lap 55, lap 56. Both of them. Coming down to 31 laps to go here in Charlotte. Pit stops underway. Huge shout out to Henderson Graphics. A lot of the drivers in this series trust Henderson Graphics to look good on broadcast. camera sets for tracks and cars, paint schemes as well for all of the stock car ladder, from Cup Series cars or Rally Series, trucks, ARCA, super late models, and real life paint scheme won in ARCA in Rockingham earlier this season. NASCAR quality without NASCAR prices has been the motto. It's been the creed, and a lot of drivers can vouch for it. They're a huge partner with 30 laps to go. This is their home race as well. We appreciate it. Their support is immeasurable for ABM. Roberts leads by 19.3 seconds. I see on timing, it looks like it might be closer to 17, 18 seconds. So we'll check in on that. But Gibney comes across start finish line in second place still, but not by a wide margin. There is Eli Sasek trying to stay ahead of Dustin Hall, who has another fire lit inside him to try to climb forward here. Sasek and Hall are all good to the finish. See how this pans out. Gibney not going to fight Sasek or Spencer Teal on this one. No reason to. Less than 30 to go. Laps continue to wind down. Sasek and Dustin Hall battling for second place. Dustin Hall's caught up. And this is for what could be the race lead in just 11 laps. And Dustin Hall breezes by, waves out the window, and says goodbye. This has felt like an old-fashioned race. If you're not on the racetrack, you're missing out. Roberts, Dustin Hall, Eli Sasek, Kevin Gibney Jr. Roberts down pit lane now. I mean, 25 laps to go. Net pit speed, he's good to go there. Dustin Hall will inherit the race lead with 25 laps to go. Kevin Gibney Jr. still sitting in third, staying out still. Brady Smith will take over the fourth spot. Sienna Ryan in fifth. And Roberts has got some work to do in these last 25 laps to get back to the podium places. We'll see what he can do. This is the run to the finish. Gibney needs to make a pit stop, but he's the last one. Down to 17 runners in this race. Some heavy hitters out of this race. Jimenez, Oberstadt, Henderson, Susie, Parkhurst, all out. Apperson, Roberts, side by side for ninth. Roberts on way better tires right now, and that's why. That's what it looks like there. So Roberts to ninth. The charge, just like it was last night. It presses on here. Christina Ryan, top five, stays ahead of Byron Jones, trying to chase down Brady Smith. 4th, 5th, and 6th on the racetrack on your screen. Ryan. Around Brady Smith there for 4th. This could be for a podium spot when Gibney comes down pit lane. And he has to. He's not pit since lap 56. They could get him on the racetrack here. And there goes Gibney down pit lane. Bottom part of your screen on the right side is who's bound for that 3rd spot. Byron Jones looking at Brady Smith, wants 4th place. Wants to get back to the chance for the podium. Outside lane for the 24, the Ulti Energy Machine. Around Ascents, Brady Smith. And through they go. Markowski couldn't hold on to 6th as much as he wanted to. Bryn Roberts just slicing and dicing through the cars on the racetrack at the moment. And he needs to. Laps are slowly running out. Jones 6/10 away from Justina Ryan in that battle for the podium spot. Looking for 3rd. There's a reason Justina Ryan has been consistently top 3 in points. It's results like these, where things are so chaotic for those around her. And this will be a significant blow to Josh Susie. Will still be points leader tonight, the 81, but not nearly as comfortable going into Talladega next Tuesday. Bryn Roberts closing in on that conversation for the top 3, though. And that's another big conversation point, is how high can Bryn Roberts get with 15 to go at the line. Dustin Hall has pulled 6.8 seconds, almost 7 seconds, on Eli Sasek, who I think is sort of just coasting through the rest of this race. Can't really catch up to Dustin Hall, but he might be too far out of range for Bryn Roberts to get to him. Laps wind down. Here we go. Bryn Roberts is caught right up there to Brady Smith. This is for 5th. Like a knife through butter. Bryn Roberts up to the top 5. New target, Byron Jones. And they're going to ride on board with him as Bryn Roberts closes in. Byron Jones shows the outside lane there, trying to defend. I don't quite think it's going to be successful. And it's not. There you go. 4th place, Bryn Roberts. Next target, a very familiar face in Christina Ryan. These two fought, feel saved, to a podium together in Kentucky in the ABN Champ Car World Series a couple weeks ago. Roberts won that race. Christina Ryan finished 3rd. They're battling for 3rd right now. Coming to 10 laps to go. I don't think there's a lot the 80 car can do tonight. So right on board with Bryn Roberts in the 96. Just blazing a trail through the field here. Less than a second apart. Roll around the corners. Turns 1 and 2 with 10 laps to go. Dustin Hall seems untouchable. Eli Sasek, I don't think safe in 2nd. I don't think he's safe with the pace that Bryn Roberts is running. Christina Ryan takes his line away in 3 and 4. Smart move. But older tires, you saw the bobble there for the 80. That is a bobble Bryn Roberts does not have to deal with. And the 96 on fresher tires waltzes on through. As will the 31 of Gibney, who is not on the lead lap at the moment. And now Roberts, his eyes are set now on Eli Sasek in the dying moments of this race. Gibney on fresher tires, he will get around the 96. Roberts knows the deal. And he closes in 3.8 seconds on Eli Sasek here in these dying laps. He's got some pace. I don't know if he's got that pace. It has been a lot of fun to watch tonight, though. No fuel mileage games, nothing to worry about there. Just sprint, pit, sprint, pit, sprint. 5 to go next time by. Dustin Hall already down the back straightaway. 9 trucks on the lead lap. Apperson first truck 1 lap down in 10th. And it has been a seal clubbing. 89 laps led here for Dustin Hall. This will put him in the chase. It's not going to be particularly close right now for Dustin Hall. This will give him some cushion to work with in Talladega a week from now. With 5 laps to go. Can Bryn Roberts close in 2 seconds? I think he can. He sees him on the racetrack. There he is, bottom of your screen. That's tough. This is the battle we're anticipating between Roberts and Eli Sasek with 4 to go. Being passed by Gibney. No separation, no buffer between the 9 and the 96 in the dying laps here in Charlotte. And Sasek got really tight, had to get well out of the throttle there. And that's going to give Bren Roberts the opportunity he needs to close in with 3 to go. Sasek can feel the pressure, and there's not a lot he can do that he isn't already doing. You can only be so cutesy with it. And Sasek knows that this is a result that he needs this season just to solidify himself as a conversationalist at the top of the standings. Less than a second away. With 2 to go, 3 miles for this battle for second place. And it will be close. Gibney has caught up to Blue Jade. This is just 4:11. But they are there. And Gibney will try to grab a position here at the death. The white flag is out. 1 lap to go, presented by Henderson Graphics. Justin Hall, untouchable, 10 seconds ahead of this battle for second place that has gone to the final lap. Through 3 and 4 for the final time. Dustin Hall will go back-to-back from Kansas to Charlotte. He wins his first Challenger Series race. Dustin Hall victorious in Charlotte. Sasek and Roberts close, but not close enough for Bren Roberts. Sasek and Roberts will complete the podium. Christina Ryan in 4th. Another top 5 for the 80. Byron Jones will complete the top 5 here tonight. But for Dustin Hall, it is back-to-back nights. We said it last night. It's easier to win after you've already got one. It took him less than 24 hours to find his second. He had pace in Vegas, not the tire saving. He has had track position several times. Just hasn't quite had what it needed at the end. This time, no denying that number 1 machine. And he gets to burn it down in the trucks for the first time in HTL tonight. Your winning moment. Presented by Henderson Graphics. Dustin Hall embarking on the Polish victory lap. First introduced to stock car racing by the late, great Alan Kowicki. And has withstood the test of time for almost 40 years. Dustin Hall gets to do it again tonight for the second time in 2 nights. After winning his first Cup Series race in over 3 years. Last night in Kansas, he breaks through and grabs a Truck Series win for the first time here in Charlotte. Just days before Independence Day in the U.S. Podium interviews coming up here shortly. Dustin Hall celebrating a phenomenal victory here. Seemed like it was a long time coming in this series, as it had in the Cup Series as well, but for different reasons. And he's found it here tonight. For results of the HTL Charlotte 300, before we get to the podium interviews, Dustin Hall from 5th on the grid, victorious tonight. Eli Sasek qualified top 5 as well. Bren Roberts also qualifying on the front row, finishing 3rd. Christina Ryan top 10, starting in 8th, finishing 4th tonight. Byron Jones from 16th to 5th did a good job on his own. Brady Smith from 15th to 6th. Del Markowski from row 10 to 7th. Alfred Denny from row 9 to 8th, gained 10 spots there. Spencer Teal losing 3 spots, but finishing top 10 as a part-timer. Not a bad effort for Apperson, his first truck race of the season. 12th to 10th. He gets a top 10 at the end there. Kevin Gibney Jr. around Blue Jade on the dying laps there. 11th and 12th for them tonight as we leave Charlotte behind. Josh Gaiman, Dakota Osborne, Davis Muir Jr., Tristan Bear, Wesley Worley are last finishers of this race. June Jimenez, a pretty star-studded list of DNFs here, including Jimenez, Stephen Oberstadt, Blake Henderson, Josh Susie, Mark Parkhurst, all out. Oberstadt out on a different occasion. Henderson and Parkhurst with technical failures. Susie calling it quits after really going 3 laps down and not having a chance to gain anything out of it. Jimenez, after a speeding penalty and other issues, calling it quits and finishing 18th. First DNF this season for Jimenez tonight. So different faces at the front of the field, but very familiar names for those that watch ABN on a weekly basis. We're glad that you're with us because these names are familiar for a reason, with Bren Roberts, Eli Sasek, and Dustin Hall in order being interviewed here on the podium in Charlotte. A phenomenal job for all of them. Let's kick things off with the 3rd place finisher tonight. Tried to surge forward there, had the tires, just not enough time to close in on Eli Sasek there at the end. Bren Roberts, 3rd place tonight. Walk us through it. That seemed like a grueling race from up here, but it seemed like the kind of race that everyone could really sink their teeth into. Walk us through it from your perspective.
I can't speak for the whole field, but I had a lot of fun racing. Kind of wish it played out different with the strategies and I chose a different path, but I mean, being able to slide this car out off the corners and not really being in a panic mode about it. I knew it was burning up the right rear, but yeah, it's fun. It's much different than the next gen. So but yeah, it was super hot, and like me and Dale were talking about it, like especially at the end of runs, it would be like tight through the corner for 90% of the corner, and then it would just snap on exit. And especially that second run, I couldn't really get a grasp on that. I think I burned it up too quick, and that's kind of what caused me to get P3. But Eli was super, super quick in that second run, and the 3rd run as well. I know he was caught up in the lap 1 wreck, but yeah, he deserved it. And Dustin, I couldn't lace his boots today. He was on fire.
You coming in, running part-time, adding a few races while you're racing full-time in the Cup Series. We know how competitive you've been there on Mondays. The pace is there in the trucks on Tuesday nights as well for you. This series doesn't stop like the Cup Series does. No Cup Series race next week, but there is Talladega for the trucks on Tuesday next week. What are the plans for you? Obviously, driving the 96 car, short notice, sort of just jump into an open truck. Is the plan to sort of just run and vibe while the momentum's there?
Yeah, we'll see. I don't plan on making this a full season thing. I just kind of want to jump in and race where I can or help someone out, subbing for them like I did in the 96. So if I'm available next Tuesday night, I guess it's up to the 96's owner if they want to have me back. But yeah, I had a lot of fun tonight. I believe, and I might have to get fact checked on this, but my first HTL start was in a number 06 Toyota for Arrowhead Racing. So kind of fun to bring that back full circle.
I'm actually pulling that up right now because I think you might be right on that. That was when
I think it was at Richmond, I want to say.
I'm trying to remember when that was, but I believe you're right on that. And we speak of full circle moments. Talladega, as we mentioned last night, it's the place where you got your first win on ABM Broadcasting almost 4 years ago. It'll be 4 years ago in August when you got that first win. Talladega, a pretty big racetrack. It was the shake and bake with you and Jacob Blankenship. How are you feeling going into Talladega? You got Talladega next Tuesday as well as the Monday after that with HTL in the Cup Series having that off week. Obviously, good results here. it doesn't matter what you're in, whether you're racing in a Toyota for Arrowhead Racing, whether you're racing big old DNA Racing, you always seem to be good at Talladega, especially. How are you feeling going into that? And obviously being able to sort of take it easy, knowing you've only got a couple races to get to next Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, we'll look to have fun coming up here with these races at Talladega. They're always fun. Obviously, a lot of luck involved, but I like to think that there's maybe a little skill there. You tend to see the same faces running up front in those type of races. But yeah, we'll see how. I mean, the truck is always going to be fun. It's kind of a wild card. We'll see how the Gen 6 races in the Cup Series. I've heard some whispers about it might not be the same thing that we saw at Daytona, but we'll see what happens there. I don't exactly know. I haven't tested it or anything. I don't even know how you would test it, but we'll see what happens and go from there.
Testing should be happening this weekend because that is, I think, something that they did plan on trying to either prove or debunk before we even get to Talladega while we've got the off week. Not going to be an issue in the trucks. Thankfully, that's the case. I did go through and fact check. Yes, you did debut. It was January 30th, 2023 in HTL. Your first race was in the 06 for Arrowhead Racing. So a bit of a full circle moment there. If you include all your starts in HTL at the moment, you have 56 starts. This was your 57th start tonight. So a lot of fun seeing you on the racetrack. Before we let you go and let you enjoy the holiday weekend coming up here, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Always fun seeing you on the racetrack here. You keep winning, you keep impressing, and obviously hope to see a lot more of it.
Yeah, thanks to you for the broadcast as always, and thanks to you for letting me drive your truck for the night and last week. Sorry that it wasn't a better result last week, but this one wasn't too bad. And yeah, thanks to everyone who was out there on the track. A lot of them raced super clean, and we had a lot of fun. And oh, I'm scared. We let Dustin win once, and now he's gonna kick everybody's butt. So we'll see what happens. But super happy for him last two nights.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. We'll talk to him later on. But again, Talladega, the great equalizer for both the trucks and the Cup. That is the next challenge for everyone in the field. Bryn Roberts, P3 tonight in the 96 Sheets Toyota for Arrowhead Racing. We'll see him again hopefully next Tuesday. If not, we'll definitely see him in time for the Cup Series race in 2 weeks' time in Talladega. Bryn, congratulations, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
And from one driver who needed a good result to sort of wash away a previous week's results, Eli Sasek, this was a needed result. Second place. It seemed like it was a 2-horse race at the top. The 9 truck grabbing a very needed result to say, hey, Ascent Racing's in this mix as well. Walk us through it. That was a grueling race, the extra laps. We thought it was going to be a little bit more of a grind, and it was. Everyone seems to be pretty well okay with it there. But walk us through your race. It seemed to help that 9 car a little bit.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I felt I don't know what really happened on the first one. I looked at it, it was just kind of a mix of the first lap. It was a mix of things, but didn't get all the damage repaired. But the car felt fine regardless. Felt really good on the short run and the long run, not so great on the middle. And I feel like if the first wreck didn't happen, we had a pretty good or had a better spot on the restart, we would have had a chance to win. Dustin was really fast, and I felt I was probably the second fastest, except for in the middle run I was kind of bad, but knew with how buried I was, I had to kind of do something off strategy, off kilter, I guess, and it worked for the most part. I mean, I learned how to drive on pit road again, so that helped. And yeah, finished pretty good.
This closes you in on the conversation for that regular season title with 2 races to go before the chase begins. Talladega and Darlington coming up the next 2 races for the Challenger Series over the next 2 weeks. Momentum at the right time. Talladega, fortune favors the bold. We've seen you win on plate races before. What's the feeling going into that? We have the extra horsepower in these trucks on the super speedways as well, and everyone enjoyed that Daytona and Atlanta. Are we expecting more of the same in Talladega next week?
Yeah, I'm not sure kind of what to expect. I like Talladega a little bit more because there's a lot more room to make moves, and I can be a little bit of a psychopath on super speedways. I get bored easily. I always say, yeah, I'm gonna sit at the back, and then in 5 laps I'm in the top 10. So pretty excited. I mean, there's not much to really say about Dega except like anybody can really be good there. It doesn't. I feel like it's 70% luck, 30% skill. And if we're lucky, if we're lucky, we're lucky. If we're not, we're not. It's just one of those tracks. And it can really make or break the regular season championship. I'm not really putting much stake in regular season championship, but could, depending on what happens, it could affect kind of your playoff chase standings with I think we have bonus points with the bonus points and stuff too.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking a little bit more forward to Darlington, honestly, because I used to not like Darlington and now I do. I feel like I've gotten really good there. And thankfully it feels like this feels like the first race in a long time where I've in a few weeks at least, maybe a month or two, that I've put together a truly complete race from start to finish, bar the first lap kerfuffle. So
Second place tonight here in Charlotte, a very needed result to close in that conversation at the top of the standings here in the Challenger Series. Obviously, a lot of work still to go here in 2026 as we begin the dog days of summer. Before we let you go, though, and let you enjoy the podium and get ready for the weekend coming up, the holiday weekend, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. I know we'll see you in the ABN Champ Car tomorrow night for Pocono.
I might be
Maybe.
watching the US. I might be
Potentially.
watching the US game.
I will be, but that is neither here nor there. I just hope we
Yeah,
don't
I
lose.
think I will be too. Yeah, my grandparents, they always watch and support. Everybody who watches and supports me, there's a lot of people kind of in the back pocket on that. Everybody has sent Brady put together a really nice race. I don't know where he's going to be in standings, but he should still be probably, I think, top 5, maybe top 6. Everybody else on a everybody else on Ascent that does Cup and Champ Car and the Enduros and all that. Not on. They don't help with setups because it's fixed for this, but Outlier. I feel the need to because the Kansas setup was really good, and I kind of suck. So I don't know how to drive on pit road at Kansas. Apparently, I don't know how to enter it. So, but thank you to them for giving a rocket ship a set last night. I wanted to say that, and everybody in HTL, it's fun racing, and you for broadcasting. And I think that's it.
A phenomenal job for Eli Sask. If we don't see him tomorrow, it's because he's watching the U.S. play Bosnia and Herzegovina in the round of 32 in the FIFA World Cup. I know we'll be watching, but we'll also be racing in Pocono for the ABM Champ Car World Series before we begin our summer break there. Eli, congratulations on the voting tonight. If we don't see you on Wednesday, we'll see you next Tuesday in Talladega. Enjoy the podium, enjoy the game tomorrow, and enjoy the holiday.
All right, thank you.
We move on. One last person to interview tonight, and it is no better than the man of the hour. Took him less than 24 hours to find victory lane again after having a winless streak in HTL going almost 1,200 days. It's 2 wins in 23 hours for Dustin Hall after his 8th Cup Series win, his first in over 3 years and 3 months. He grabs his first ever HTL Truck Series victory. I was surprised to know that little statistic. Here tonight in Charlotte Motor Speedway, a very big racetrack for HTL as far as the patriotism, and it couldn't be much better than right before Independence Day weekend. We saw the pace in the one truck tonight, as we've seen throughout. The tire wear, there was always someone better at tire wear. There was always someone better at fuel saving. None of those were a factor tonight. Obviously, lap 1 is lap 1. You had to drive through it to get through it. And from there, it was about controlling the race. Over 100 laps led tonight. The number 1 truck was untouchable in a way we have not seen in quite some time. Walk us through it.
Yeah, that felt good. It does help when half the field wipes themselves out into turn one. Navigating that was interesting. I got it slowed down, took a shot from behind, managed to straighten it out, and then dreaded pushing that damage button because rear damage or a TV panel or a center bumper can really affect the way these trucks drive. So I was pretty worried about it. Hit the button, said no damage. We trucked on. First run, kind of wanted to feel out what a paced run would do. Second run, I ran it a little bit harder and ran faster lap time. So I think, you know, from then on, it was just hold it down, do the best not to slide the rears, but you could actually get away with driving this one a little bit harder, which does fall into my favor, versus having to save because I just cannot train the brain to do that. So it was just kind of the perfect combination of setup, track temp, and people wrecking out lap one.
We said it last night. Once you win one, it's easier to find victory lane again. I didn't think you took it literally, and you did.
I didn't think I did either.
It kind of just works out that way. That being said, a
Sometimes.
whirlwind week for you as far as everything in HTL goes. You have to go back. So I went back and I did prepare for this one. So last time you had won a race in HTL, a points event, I should say, was over 3 years ago. 3 years, 3 months, 6 days. We no longer have to count that. The last time you won back-to-back races in HTL, almost 5 years ago.
Wow.
Is insane numbers here. Obviously, not the same series, but back then, there was only one series. It was just the Cup Series. A lot of the same faces, though, tonight. Bren Roberts, Eli Sasek. You dealt with both of them last night. Christina Ryan, former teammates. It is a teammate here in the Truck Series. Byron Jones, Brady Smith, Dale Markowski, Alfred Denny. The only driver in the top 10 that we don't say on Monday night was Spencer Teal, who just avoided getting lapped by you tonight. Same crowd, same success as last night. What is the feeling like there? Obviously, the season started off rough. You entered this race outside the top 12, now safely in the top 12 with 2 races to go. What does it mean being able to win? Obviously, we talked about last night. What does it mean being able to go back and do it back to back? Is it validation of the work that has been put in on your side and with the team around you, whether it's Beagle Denny, whether it's Team Tombstone, to be able to find that consistently now and see the results of that? How validating is it, not just for last night, but for tonight as well, saying that you're officially back and you're better than ever?
I don't know. People can get hot, people can go through these streaks. I was talking to Bren earlier and we were talking about how it feels to have turned a page or found a groove in, your craft or, how you're performing night in, night out. And when you get in these grooves, you enjoy every second of it. But it's not to be taken for granted by any means. Yeah, we had some heavy hitters here tonight. The truck is something I should excel at. I build the trucks for TCSP. I put so many laps in, week out in a truck. Now they don't drive at all like these fixed setups do. In fact, first thing I did when I loaded in tonight was look at the setup, and that was a moment of head scratching. But it does help me to know this is what's in it. This is what it should drive like. This is how I can attack it. It helps me, show up. I couldn't make it in. I was until about 30 minutes before race started or qualifying, and then I had to deal with some graphics issues. So I didn't get a lot of track time, but knowing what to expect just by looking at the setup is a huge advantage for me to be able to adapt quickly to a truck at any given track. So I think we can credit you just get in these grooves in racing. You know, I started racing 40 years ago in real life. That's crazy to say, but I can't tell you how many streaks I've had throughout my racing career, real life, online racing. You know, you just enjoy every second of them while they're here, and hope they stay around a long time. And that's going to be the goal. That's what we're going to push for, and maybe it'll stick. Maybe we can talk to you more often.
That's always the game plan. The last time you won back-to-back races, it was Las Vegas and Bristol back in 2021, back in November that year. So it's been a long time coming here. Obviously, we talked about it last night. Felt like a long time coming in the Cup Series. You found it here as well. Independence Day, no longer any obstacles between now and Saturday and the anniversary of America's founding. Before we let you go and let you obviously enjoy the race win again and celebrate now in style, no better place to win on Independence Day week than Charlotte. If there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats again. Back-to-back nights victorious here in HTL. Dustin Hall in the #1 team for Team Conti Sim Performance.
Yeah, thank you, Carmen. Obviously, got to thank Team Conti Sim Performance, Joan Seminario Designs, JSD, Henderson Graphics, Beagle Denny Racing, Tombstone, Unforgiven, you for the broadcast, Sabian, all the support that you've given us, me personally throughout these last 5 years or whatever that we've been doing this. And lastly, but certainly not least, Independence Day was always one of Coben's favorite holidays. We used to go splurge on the most expensive fireworks we could find, and plenty of them, especially after he got sick. And on the name rail of all my trucks, cars, you might see Coben on that name rail, and he rides with me. This one's for him. Last night I got caught up in just the awestruckness. I didn't know what really happened. You know, you don't often exit turn 4 third and win a race. Tonight was more of that statement win that throws back to when Jimmy was tuned in every week, and huge win, perfect weekend for it. Massive shout out to him for choosing this weekend for this resurgence.
No better feeling than Victory Lane, especially here in Charlotte, one of the main houses for stock car racing. It's a big race in HTL for a reason. BFL 500 coming up later this year in the Cup Series side of things. We get to come here earlier because the season ends earlier in the Challenger Series, and Dustin Hall finds his way to Victory Lane tonight. First time in the trucks in HTL, second time in 2 nights here to end out the month of June. Dustin, enjoy the holiday. We're so glad to see you on our screens every week as we have been able to. We're so glad to be able to talk to you and see you in Victory Lane. We say popular wins for a reason. There's a reason this week has been so popular. Enjoy the race wins, enjoy the holiday, and hopefully we get to talk to you again next week in Talladega.
Thank you. That means so much. I appreciate it, Carmen.
Dustin Hall, race winner, back-to-back nights. We'll end out our week of broadcasting here before Independence Day. We'll see if we can talk to him again next Tuesday. Dustin, thank you so much.
Sounds good.
A phenomenal drive for everyone in this field tonight. That will conclude our coverage of the HTL Cup Series here from Charlotte. We're done broadcasting this week. You'll see us again next Tuesday for the HTL Challenger Series from Talladega. From the heartland of Charlotte Motor Speedway, we say goodbye. Dustin Hall, victorious once again in HTL, this time in the trucks. Join us next week, or join us tomorrow and race live with us on Pocono Raceway's Strictly Triangle for the ABN Champ Car World Series. On behalf of HTL, all of its partners, and everyone here at ABN Studios, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you all so much. Stay safe and stay healthy, and have fun this weekend. Stay safe.